Welcome back to Solo Marvel Champion, where today I'm doing a redo on my favorite hero cards from Wave 6. I'm doing that because I have very recently played 5 of the 8 heroes from Wave 6 and gotten a new appreciation for some of their cards. So, let's start in the box. This is the Mutant Genesis box. We'll start with Colossus. I had a really good time with Colossus, where I have not had a good time with him in the past. I played him against Expert Juggernaut and absolutely crushed him. In my original favorite hero cards from Wave 6 video, I'm going to call that my Fave 6 video. In my original Fave 6 video, I said Iron Will was my favorite card, and it is very, very good. Anytime you take an attack, you're going to lose a tough. You're going to discard a tough, so you get to draw a card. With Bulletproof Protector, discard a tough, choose. So that is going to get you a card draw as well because of Iron Will, or if you have Iron Will in play. So that was my favorite in my original Fave 6 video. And I said at that time that Armor Up was a very, very good card. And it definitely is. After playing him and after thinking about how I should be playing him, Armor Up is my new favorite card for Colossus. I want to talk about how I was playing him and how I have started playing him. In the past, when I got to a point where I didn't have a tough, I would flip down so that I could get a tough flipping back up. Now, what I'm doing now, though, is when I have one tough card, I'll flip down, so that when I flip up to hero, I get my second tough. Armor Up lets you do that without worrying about the scheme. So I'm always concerned about going down to Alter Ego if I don't have a Confuse on the villain, because anything could happen, right? They could scheme, and then they get an Armor Up and scheme again. Not an Armor Up, they get an Advance and scheme again. And that's always devastating. Even if you have a Confuse, that could cancel their scheme, and then they get an Advance and scheme anyway. With Armor Up, you eliminate that by interrupting the villain's activation and changing to hero form. So they would go to scheme, but then you say, hold up, you play Armor Up, change to hero form. Now I have 2 toughs because I went down still having 1, and the villain attacks instead. Now they could still draw Advance, so you're kind of, whatever, that just happens. But you can go down without worrying about scheming if you have Armor Up in hand. By far, that is my favorite card now for Colossus. Let's go down to Shadowcat. I had a lot of fun with her too. She has a lot of interesting cards. My card originally was Quick Shift in that first Fave 6 video. And that is a very good card. When an enemy attacks, if you're solid, change to phase. Now you're in phased and defending, which matters. Or if you were in phased, draw 2 cards. And I am going to go ahead and say that this is still my favorite card for Shadowcat, but I've altered the way I think of Quick Shift. I would only want to play Quick Shift before while I was in phased form because I get the 2 card draw. Now, though, I prefer to play this in solid because it's a way to shift me back to phased, where I'm now defending and won't take any damage. So yes, drawing 2 cards is very, very good. Not taking any damage is really, really good too, especially if you're low on health. So still my favorite card for this hero, but I have altered the way I think about it. Next, let's get out of the box. And, well, let's get out of the box. I've recently replayed Cyclops. Now, in my original Fave 6 video, I said that Tactical Brilliance is my favorite card. 2-cost event, remove 3 threat from a scheme, choose a tactic card in your discard pile, add it to your hand. Anytime you can get something out of your discard pile is really good. For me, though, I think the card that I'm really keen on now is Practiced Defense. 0 cost. Attached to an enemy, they get -1 attack. It is temporary, but -1 attack is really good too. Taking 1 less damage can mean the difference over just 1 turn or a few of being defeated or not. And, you know, you could attach this to a minion which only attacks for 1, and then you've neutralized that minion for that turn. But that's not how I use this. I put this on the villain so that they're attacking for 1 less. Of course, they still get a boost, but I feel like, again, just taking 1 attack off can mean a world of difference over the course of a game. So I really like Practice Defense. The other one that I considered was Exploit Weakness. Increase the amount of damage you or the attached enemy takes from each attack by 1. That's fun because the Cyclops minion does this. You play the Cyclops ally, not minion, and he says increase the amount of damage each enemy or the named enemy takes from an attack by 1. So this kind of does that, and I really like it for that. But in this case, and maybe, you know, I said Practice Defense. I am going to go with Exploit Weakness. Exploit Weakness is my new favorite card for Cyclops. Let's go back and look at, well, Phoenix I have not played recently, so I'm not going to redo her. I haven't played Wolverine or Storm recently. Let's go down to Gambit. In my Fave 6 original video, I said Charged Card was my favorite, and it is a very good card. 2-cost event, attack, deal 4 damage to an enemy, and then depending on how many counters you use when you play it, you get additional abilities. Ranged, Piercing, Overkill. That's a really good card. This could be 2 for 7 damage with Range, Piercing, and Overkill. But my new favorite for him is Natural Agility. Hero Interrupt Defense. When you defend against an attack, place 1 charge counter on Gambit, and then for each charge counter on Gambit, you get +1 defense. He already has 3 defense. So let's say you had 2 counters on him. The villain attacks, and you have, I mean, this is just a great card too. Let's say you have Gambit's Guild Armor out. After he defends and takes no damage, exhaust this to ready Gambit. So you've got 2 counters. The villain is attacking. You defend and play Natural Agility. Now you add a 3rd counter and add 3 to your defense. You're defending for 6. More times than not, way more times than not, you're not going to take any damage and get to ready with your Guild Armor. So even if you didn't have Guild Armor out, Natural Agility is so good because, like I said, now you're defending for 3 or +3, which gives you a defense of 6. That is a fantastic card. I haven't played him in Perfect Defense, but this card makes me think I want to. Finally, we're going to come to Oops, we're going to come to Rogue. She was the last of the X-Men heroes I played. Last hero I needed to get on the channel, and that was yesterday's video. Rogue is a lot of fun. My original Fave 6 video, I said that Superpower Adaptation was my favorite card. And yeah, it's good. Even in solo, I proved that in yesterday's video. Being able to pull Psychic Kicker back and play it again and again, Superpower Adaptation is a great card. But for me, I think it's Energy Transfer. And I made a big mistake at the end of that video yesterday. I didn't play Energy Transfer when I could have. But Energy Transfer is a 2-cost event. It is a superpower. Hero action, attach touched to a character other than Rogue and deal 2 damage to that character. Heal 2 damage from Rogue and ready her. You gain each of the attached character's traits. The reason this is my favorite card now is because of the way I played her in yesterday's video. I have a specific idea for how I'm going to use the touched attachment. I want to touch certain allies to get their traits to do certain things, right? Well, if I have it attached to Phoenix, for example, I cannot take advantage of, where is it? Bulletproof Bell. Hero interrupt when an enemy with touched attached is, boy, that's hard to read, touched attached. When an enemy with touched attached to it attacks, prevent all damage from that attack and gain a tough. Well, if touched is attached to Phoenix, Phoenix is never going to be attacking me, so Bulletproof Bell is a dead card in my hand. But during my turn, I can touch Phoenix, do all the things I want to do with having Phoenix touched, and then play Energy Transfer. Move it from Phoenix to the villain, deal 2 damage to that villain, heal 2 damage from me, and ready me. And that makes Energy Transfer a very good card. Any of the Rogue decks I've built, and some of them didn't really work as well as I'd hoped, but all of them have used touched in a specific way on allies. But again, that means you're not touching the villain and can't take advantage of being touched to the villain. So again, Energy Transfer, do what you want with touched on your allies, then transfer it to the villain and go into the villain phase. Not only are you now touching the villain and can play Bulletproof Bell, but you also have Retaliate. So that's a really good combo. Now you're dealing a damage to the villain, and with Bulletproof Bell, not taking any damage yourself. Great reason to have the villain touched. And unlike Valkyrie, who you have to go down to Alter Ego to get the Death Glow off of someone, with Rogue, after the player phase begins, you find touched and set it aside, no matter where it is. So if it was on the villain, you can just take it off the villain and then use your action to touch it to someone else. So I really like Rogue. I've struggled with her in the past, but this last build I made for her worked really well. And my new favorite card for her is Energy Transfer. So let me know what your favorites are for each of these heroes. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a marvelous day.